Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. This is a Cosmic Compass Conversations, and this is our first time back in a couple of months, actually. So thanks for joining. And as promised, we're going to have a really cosmic conversation with four amazing beings in just a few minutes. But before we begin our conversation, we're going to start. And again, invitation. I know some of you are out and about while you're listening. But if you'd like to join me in centering and just taking a moment to gather your energy, and we're going to do some breathing together. So if it's comfortable where you are, you could lower your gaze, close your eyes, and just bring yourself here in this moment, connecting deeply with yourself. And if it helps to put a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, and just say thank you to yourself for being here. And if you're with your beloved animal of some kind, you can put a little hand on their heart and welcome them also for being with us today. And then taking a moment to drop your awareness down from your head, through your neck, through your chest and your torso, through your lower dantian, your hips, your thighs, knees, calves and shins, ankles and feet, just saying much gratitude for your whole body. And when you get to your feet, if it feels comfortable for you, you can just feel that earth energy rising up to meet your feet. And if you want to send down some roots into the earth, that would be great as well. Just really anchoring your energy and taking a moment to thank the earth, thank this land upon which you are right now, connecting with that energy. And again, always an invitation, but if there are those that you want to honor, those that have come before, taking a moment in just silent gratitude for them. And then bringing in your awareness of the earth and the breath. So as we breathe, we're going to breathe up through the soles of the feet, filling the cells of the body with all that you need right now today. And as you breathe in, if you can expand your belly, and on your exhale, breathing out through your mouth. And we'll do this again. Breathing in through the soles of the feet, expanding the belly. And exhaling. And this is bringing us all together in our circle today. Breathing in through the soles of the feet, expanding the belly. And exhaling. And one more time, bringing us all together, breathing in through the soles of the feet, expanding the belly, and exhaling. Beautiful. So that breathing just really brings all of us together in circle. And I know we're in a square, but we can pretend we're in a circle. It works for me energetically that we're in a circle. And with that energy, I'm going to go ahead and pull three cards. And those of you that are here regularly or watch regularly, you know that I'm not going to tell you what the cards mean. You get to deepen into the images or the feelings that come up for you. And then later, it's kind of like your own adventure, right? You get to choose. And then in the follow-up and email, I'll give you some really powerful affirmations from Chris Ann, who created this Light Seers Tarot deck, which I love. All right, so for our first card for this week, which is a very powerful week, as you know, astrologically. Oh, why not start with something really awesome? Okay, so we're going to start with this very cool card, the Death card. Death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. All right. So again, what do you notice What do you feel? What do you connect with in the card? It's all amazingly perfect, and you get to have your own experience with the cards. All right, so that's our first one. We're starting off with quite the energy this morning, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where we're going. This will be fun for our conversation. And the next card for this week for our collective pull. Ooh. All right. This one. Okay, there we go. Ace of Wands. So for those of you that know the tarot, you may have some already, you may have ideas of what it means, and that's great. And if you want to put those aside just for a moment and just deepen into the image, the reason I choose these cards is that her images are really pretty right on with the traditional meanings, but they also add some zest, which I like. So what do you feel? What do you notice? So far, I'm liking this read. This is awesome. So thank you for all your energy and being here this morning. And our last card. Oh, I had a little message from Mars pop in there. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll just have to come back to that. Oof. This is one good reading. Here we go. And this is the Queen of Cups. So there's a bit of theme going on, and they're all different, for those, and for those of you that are interested more in the tarot, we can do more on another day about what some of the suits mean, like cups are emotions and water element, obviously. But again, just deepening into how you feel or what you notice. And every time I see these cards, I see something different. Something else pops out. And that's where I want to take my attention. What am I learning from that? What's coming up from that? So on this day, as we're now in Mercury prograde, just a quick reminder that we're revisiting some of the areas we visited almost 9 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago. So there's things that we are moving through, reminders, messages. So if anything is surfacing for you this week, and you're like, oh, maybe it's time to let something go so something new can be reborn. Just maybe keep that in mind. Listen to your intuition. How do you feel? Not that I was going to tell you what the cards mean at all, but just in case there was something there. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to start bringing in our guests. Wow, I am really excited. This is the first time we've had 4 people, so you, bear with me, please. So I'm going to start with Dr. Jessica White Plume, and I'm going to bring her into the spotlight first. So here you are. I'm adding you in, Jessica. Thank you for joining us. I could talk for hours about each of you, so I'm just going to say that Jessica has an extraordinarily sacred relationship with horses and the earth. She is a Lakota woman, and she is maybe somewhere in the Dakotas. I'm not sure if she's in North or South Dakota right now, or maybe not even in both, but we know you hail from the Dakotas. And thank you so much for being here and being with us. And is there anything else you would like to say about yourself before I introduce our next guest?
I love that introduction. Thank you. I'm in North Dakota. People often lead with the education and various bits, but I love yours maybe the best because that's the most important part. So thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. And as we go through the conversation, if I have an opportunity to share a little story about our time in San Antonio, I will, because it's a really sacred story for me. So, but I do want to bring in everyone. And Jessica, thank you so much for being here with us. All right. So next we have Christine Dickson. I'm going to add the spotlight and hopefully do this correctly. Christine is a clinical hypnotherapist, and she is a mentor. She is a counselor in the very true sense of counseling. I feel like the soul of people, but also has a lot of clinical skills. And she is currently in Paso Robles right now, but is based in the LA area. Thank you, Christine, for being here. Is there anything else you would like to say about yourself?
Um, Probably not, other than I do love to work with people in a variety of ways, and a lot of my clients tend to be around growing up in pathological relationships or having pathological relationships as adults, meaning relationships with people who are struggling with some form of maybe bipolar disorder or narcissism, or even addiction. A lot of in addiction I've worked a lot. So
And yes, thank you, Christine. And for those of you that know Christine, or for those of you that saw her talk in Birmingham, Christine, you've walked a very it's been a very sacred path. I'm going to call it the sacred path of the shadow. And you're bringing your awareness and wisdom from that place. So thank you so much for being here with us.
thank you.
Yeah. All right. Next, I'm going to bring on Robyn Schiller. And Robyn is many things. And Robyn, I would like to introduce you primarily as someone who has pulled together an amazing toolkit to help people regulate nervous system. Many of you know Robyn through the summits, obviously, and through her cold plunges, but many of you may not realize that Robyn is teaching courses, and she is also a sought after speaker and retreat facilitator. So based in Paso Robles, California. So Robyn, thank you so much for being here. Would you like to add anything to your introduction?
No, you did a great job. Thank you.
Okay, all right. All right. Well, see, we have all of these amazing, humble people who don't want to say too much more, but okay. And last but not least, I'm going to bring in Warwick Schiller, who many of you know from the Journey On podcast. And Warwick, I think the way I'd like to introduce you as a human who is really, truly doing an amazing job bringing the spiritual world and the human world into an integrated wholeness for many, many people. And for those of you who don't know Warwick Schiller, he is an internationally known horse. I always call you a horse whisperer, but horse person, and is currently a retreat facilitator, a host, a workshop facilitator, and just continuing to live your life to learn and grow and share and teach. So thanks for being here. And you can add anything you want.
Thanks, Denise. No, I think like everybody else's, I think that was amazing. It was good to see you again.
Yeah, I know. It's good to see you guys too.
It's so interesting seeing you and hearing you because of you being sick, your voice is not Denise's voice. And so like there's somebody else using Denise's words.
Yeah, I had to warn you about that. It's still not 100%, but I'm getting there slowly but surely. As Robyn told me, respect the virus. So we are respecting it and not pushing. But it took my voice entirely last week. So I'm very happy I actually have a voice today.
Mm.
I won't crackle too much all over you guys, but thank you. And so you're all here because you've been collaborating. You've been doing some magic behind the scenes to create something really powerful for people. And that's not all we're going to talk about today, but I really do want to find out from the ground to the stars, a beautiful name. You know, it caught my attention immediately. I'd love to know aside from the details of the retreat, which we can absolutely talk about, I'd love to know, how did this happen and what is the intention of this retreat and how did you come up with the name? And anybody can start. You can just jump right in. Don't wait for me or don't wait for anyone else to say, please jump in.
So I guess I'll start because it started with something that just burst into my brain while I was walking the dog one night. And the thought started off as, it actually was, you need to do something with Jessica. Like you and Jessica, you need to, like, there's an aspect of what Jessica brings that could really be so helpful and healing to people that don't have access to her and her beautiful views of life and wisdom. And she is a therapist, so she's blending both worlds in just a way that's so beautiful. And it was just this thing, and I, call it a download, right? Because it just, it's very clear. And then I struggled with, I knew Jess, but like I didn't know Jess.
Right.
Where I was like, well, how do I mean, will she be like, what is this woman contacting me about? So I just wrote her an email and I said, look, don't feel any pressure like you have to do anything, but this is what came when I was walking my dog, and that's my kind of like walking meditation almost. And what do you think about collaborating? And these are some of the ideas I had, but again, like, you can just think this is a crazy lady reaching out to me and say thanks, but no thanks. And she wrote back, she's like, yes, that sounds amazing. So we started thinking about, where we would host it, what it would look like. And I had co-hosted a retreat at the Schillers the previous year. And so the first thought was, well, maybe we could contact the Schillers and see if we could host it there. And then it was like, wait, what if they wanted to be a part of it too? So we were like, again, that feeling of, will they be like, we don't need you. What do you mean? Like, so they said yes, they were excited to do it. And so that's how we got here.
All right. And I love the download part. I love that you're walking the dog. I mean, these are the times where we can listen. And I love that, Christine. So I'm going to jump right over to Jessica because, it's the natural fit. I'd like to know, Jess, how did you feel when you received the email?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm going to actually take a few steps back from the email to the first summit when I met Warwick and Robyn and Christine and Denise. I think I met like everybody. And the whole, even arriving there, and there's really a leap of trust in everything and ourselves, and that things are going to be okay, that we're all, aligned here. And what I mean by that most specifically is my being able to just be like open and say, Christine, you know what? I get a good vibe from you. I'm going to hug you. We're going to be friends. Same with pretty much everyone there. Which was the same when I even first emailed Warwick. It's kind of that leap of faith. It's really just being vulnerable and open, which I think invites those downloads, right? Kind of allows whatever is trying to reach you to maybe flow a little easier. And so I think it really started with that friendship that budded with Christine. Even though we didn't really know each other well, we knew that we had a connection and maybe in a past life or whatnot, and we trusted it and we went with it. And I like to hope that's why she felt okay emailing. And then it's really beautiful how things come together. Also, when Robyn and Warwick first were getting the new property at Paso Robles, and we had talked about, a lot of things on the podcast and spirituality. And I think one thing that work really gets, and a lot of us get, that all of the different indigenous cultures are all of the things that we do, they're not just like activities, they're all tied to the land and the energy of the elements, always in the earth, whether it's through the buffalo or the plants and the medicines, and it's always tied back to the energy of the earth. And so when they moved, I was just like, oh wow, that's just so wonderful, and not knowing how, but just celebrating that they will have more land and more opportunity to grow that. And so now there's going to be a lot filled in. That's my cliffhanger. There's going to be a lot filled in between all those points of, here we are at a conference, and here the stars are aligning, and now we're on this beautiful, beautiful land that Robyn and Warwick, that has come to them, as our beliefs are. It has invited them, and there they are, and we'll all be together soon. So hang tight. It's going to be great.
Jessica, I just got so many chills when you brought up how the land found them and how important the land is. Obviously the title of this is From the Earth to the Stars, and we'll get more into that. But I'd like to just focus again on this land that has come in. So Robyn or Warwick, do you want to respond to what Jess has said here? Because I've got chills still from what she just said.
Yeah, I'll comment on that. Yeah, this place is, so it's very rolling hills, covered in oak tree, beautiful California oak trees, valley oaks they're called. And it just has a sense of peace about it. And I'm really excited I'd be really excited to be anywhere with Jess, but to have her here on this land, I'm really interested in how it speaks to her and what her thoughts are about it.
Yeah.
And we have she's back here now. We had an intern last year who, she's a Reiki master and really in tune with a lot of stuff. And she said she has seen people walking around here and then they disappear. But one of the ones she saw was a man, olive complected man with like a hooked sort of a nose with a blanket around his shoulders. And so I'm extrapolating that would be one of the, indigenous people from this area back in the day. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what Jess feels from the land.
Warwick, as you were speaking, and I interrupted you, I'm sorry. I was just getting more chills, and all of a sudden I felt really emotional. Like all these tears wanted to come up. So there is something about this land, and there's something about Jess coming to be there that feels really, really important. I won't go more into that, but I just wanted to share that there's definitely something surfacing, and I can feel it.
Last year we had a retreat here with Rupert Isaacson and Jane Pike. And one of the people that came to the retreat, I knew from a place where I worked, a ranch where I worked in like the mid-2000s. And I've since been back there. Carolyn Resnick and Nan Zinsmaster had a thing there. And so the lady I know from there was a story about that land, like it's never really quite worked out. And someone who really feels things from the land said that there was something terrible happened here a long time ago. And I'd had several people tell me that, and I was telling, long story, but when Jane and Rupert were here at the retreat, that lady was here, and I said to her, hey, have you ever had any thoughts about that land? And she goes, oh yeah, I've always felt that. So she felt the same thing. So she was here for the weekend, for the retreat, and right when she was leaving, I kind of had this this thought. I said to her, if you can feel that from that land, what do you feel from this land? And this kind of ties into, really ties into Christine and Jess, because they've both had their parts in my unraveling. One of them was on the podcast with Jess. And this lady said, she said lovely things about the place, but then she said, oh, the trees. And I'm like, yeah, the trees. And she leans forward and she says, the trees are here to hold you while you crack.
Oh,
And so, Jess has been one of the parts of my cracking. Christine's been there for a few of them. And so, adding all those things together and then having Christine and Jess here with these trees who are to hold me while I crack. I'm really excited about. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be amazing.
I have no doubt. Well, we've added a whole nother level and it's beautiful. Thank you. And because there's also this other amazing support person available for cracking and holding, Robyn, how would you like to respond to this retreat? And if you want to share more even about your experience of the land, but also what this retreat means for you.
Well, I was going to go into being who I am, the practical about like how we came to own it.
Oh yeah, do that. That's good.
Because it wasn't an easy, like it came along at the right time. Warwick and I had been looking down in this area for a little while. After I had said, we need to look within, we needed more room because I was collecting too many horses and we had 6 acres and it just wasn't enough. So my parents were getting older. My mom had been starting to show signs of dementia. And I just said, we could be within like 3 hours. I'd like to be able to be home if they need me, I'd like to be able to be home as quickly as I can. And so we started looking in Paso Robles, which is 2 hours from where we lived. And we found an agent and we were perplexing him because it was like, nope, that's not right. Nope, that's not right. Nope, that's not right. And he finally said, okay, you got to tell me, like, what is it? And so we told him like our dream, right? Like everything we wanted.
A big dream.
Yeah, big dream. And he goes, okay. And he went back to all the listings and he said, okay, there's this one property that has been just taken off the market due to health reasons. And we're like, well, that's odd because usually they're put on the market for health reasons. And he said, but they have Airbnbs and you can go, and part of the Airbnb experience is you can walk around the ranch. And he said, so if you can get there, go have a look and then just give me some feedback. Like, is that something like, so we can compare? And so Warwick and I came down with the paddle boards because there's a lake 15 minutes away, and we brought Holden, my dog, and we stayed in one of the Airbnbs, which just happens to be this place. And we walked around and we met the owner, and he had been treated at UCSF for melanoma, and he had been put in remission. They had done a great job. And so that's why he took it off the market. And we stayed a couple nights and the views were great. And, from the cottage where Christine's staying, like that is the sunset place. It's beautiful, big, huge, beautiful oak. And oh, yeah. And so we got back to the agent and said, okay, every place you look at has that's the benchmark. That is what we want. And so we saw a few more places in the next year, and we got a call almost a year later exactly. And he said, I've been in touch all this time with the listing agent, touching base. And it turns out that Marty passed away. So he was the owner. And so we obviously thought the cancer got him and, whatever. And we're like, oh, okay. And so we came down and we actually brought my parents and they got to see the place. And we went downtown to our favorite restaurant, Fish Gaucho, and we wrote an offer to the people, or the, what are they called, trustees, and waited on bated breath, and they never got back to us. They never answered us. And it was just really odd. And so we're like, okay. And then finally they, you know, we're like, what's going on? What's going on? And finally it trickled down that they're not ready. They got really emotional when they got the offer, and it was just too much. And that they're going to put it on the market when they're ready and whatever. So that was July 2022. They put it on the market in late August for more than we offered them. And we had a contingency, you know, we had to sell Hollister because, you know, it was a lot of money. And so in the meantime, sorry, I'm drawing this out.
That's great.
I tried to look for, I'm like, we can't be the only people who need to like bridge a loan. There's got to be these loans that get, you know, it's contingent on selling. And so in the meantime, I'm doing some research, and they put the house on the market for the price. And then it kind of, the housing market kind of went, and then they lowered the price, and then they lowered the price, and then they lowered the price some more. And after the first summit, we're driving away from the summit in 2 different cars. Warwick's going to the airport and I'm going with my girlfriends. And after the summit, we're like, that's what we're meant to do. Like, these are the events that we are meant to have. And he just said, we need to have Paso Robles. We need that property. And so when he got back from Australia, we took Tyler because he hadn't seen it yet. We came down, it was right after the day after Thanksgiving. We came down, looked at the property, made another offer, not contingent because I had found a way to do it. And it was like July, everything was no, 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 no. And then November, everything was just yes, 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 yes. We got it for less than we offered in the first place. We had a caretaker at the property already here. Like, it just was like, yes, it was all yeses. So
That's a
sorry,
great story.
long drawn out. But that's,
No, I
you know,
love it.
it came to us after some work. But
It did. And it also came to you after you solidified the vision and the knowing. It feels like, from what you're saying, you both felt in your bodies, to the core of your souls, this is what we need to do. And that's when it was able to come in.
Yeah, when we, you know, the first time we looked at it, it was for us.
Oof. Yeah.
And then after the summit, it's like, oh no, we want to get more into the transformational space. We want and so it was, and when it was for us, it was hard. It was no, no, no. Like, there was a no at every turn. When our intention for the place was different, it was yes, 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 yes.
Exactly.
And just to let you know about Marty, it turns out that Marty didn't die from cancer. He actually had an accident in the house. He slipped coming out of the shower and hit his head.
Oh.
So he died in the house. But we've seen him. Like, he's happy we're here. We know this. Like, we know he's happy what we're doing. And multiple people have seen him. Things happen in the barn, you know, like, everybody has seen Marty on the place. So it's
That's
pretty
awesome. I love that so much. Do I have permission, Robyn and Warwick, to kind of out just your sun and rising signs? Are you okay with a little astrology?
Yep.
Okay.
Denise,
you know,
you didn't
it's
have
me,
to ask.
you know. Okay. So you could tell from how Robyn shared that she's a Cancer, which values home and family. Did you hear all the home and family in that description? And then her Capricorn rising, I figured out a way. And so people must get bridge loans. There must be a way to do this. Very Cancer Capricorn. And then I want to wander over here to Warwick, because The Pisces energy is just, compassion and wanting to understand and go deep. Aquarius rising, I believe that when the vision gets bigger and it includes all, it's the collective, like you were saying, the transformational space for many, that's when the energy builds. That's when the energy can really come in and really make a difference. So I loved your explanations because they're just so astrologically perfect. So if I were writing a book, you'd have to go into my book with how visions happen. So I want to transition a little bit. This is amazing. And obviously now we all want to come down to the property, which, by the way, again, this retreat is coming up in October. There are other events as well. I want to go back to Jessica and then to Christine to talk about a little bit about the actual content that you can share or want to share. I know some of it will, be part of being with the land, but Jessica, is there anything else you can share with us about your intention as you come in as a facilitator for this particular event?
It's a great question because I'm so excited to go. And of course, all of these people are amazing. And so I catch myself at moments being like, okay, how do we prepare to make sure that it's appropriately epic? And then I catch myself doing the like, well, that almost feels a little bit off center. Like, let's just calm down and remember we're all friends coming together and that the people are going to be coming. So I'm like catching moments of inspiration. And Christine and I have had some great talks. But I'm really just, when I get too excited, there's like a teaching about if you want something really almost like too much, you can accidentally push it away.
Yes.
And so I try to just settle into we're all friends and open myself to whatever messages and helpful bits that present themselves. And there have been some beautiful bits presenting themselves. And I will bring those and see how if there's a time that feels right with those. I'm also really excited to meet the people that are coming because the caliber of people that are within the Schiller, Tuned Horsemanship Network are really already phenomenal. I expect I'm going to learn some things from them as well. But generally speaking, from the ground to the stars is that we just are always trying to exist as humans in multiple levels. And I should say as humans today, because on our journey of unfolding and cracking open, as Warwick says, we're getting closer and closer to kind of our authentic selves and processing a lot of trauma and all of those things as Robyn is becoming more and more of a leader for us and how to manage those emotions and whatnot. But we still live in a modern world. You're still like, get up and we have a clock and we have a computer and we do want to reach for the stars. We want to do epic things. We have like this diabolical plan for world peace, as Carrie Lake says. But we want to stay connected to the earth. So that leaves a lot of room, and that's great, I think, because like I said, I'm excited what everybody is going to bring, what they're going to come with, and it might just take us in a whole new, beautiful direction. I'm also super fangirling on the horses, so not to put anybody down, but I'm really excited to meet the horses.
So part of this is being with the horses.
I think to some extent. I mean, of course, that's a Robyn and Warwick call, but I believe we might do some meditation. I'll let you all talk on that.
Thank you, Jess.
We're just, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say that we're actually just coming off of a retreat that we hosted here this weekend. And, it's kind of a testament to to work and Robyn and what they've created here. They are so in love with this land. And like, we went for a walk this morning and I'm getting excited stories of like what birds we saw here. And this is where the yurts are going to go one day. And we're clearing this out, we're moving that, and we're planting this organic garden over here, and we're going to do trees over here. And they're so excited. And it's just the energy that the two of them create, both on a human level and on a spiritual level, is half of the magic of the retreats that happen here. And Robyn's cooking, which is
Oh,
next.
Oh,
yes, please.
5 stars on Yelp, I'm telling you.
what? New thing.
my God.
This is
Okay.
like a 5-star bed and breakfast or something. Let me tell you, she made yesterday, I had a blackberry and brie grilled sandwich with,
What?
look, you'll see. It
Yes.
incredible.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Incredible.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
Thank you, Christine, for reminding me. I was going to say with all of this collection is going to be awesome because some of our stuff is going to go real deep. There might be some tears, but also we need to kind of keep it light sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
we need to like eat some frogs, which Christine will tell us about later. We need to keep it real, like Robyn, you know, like we kind of got to be real sometimes too. So we
Mhm.
I think it's going to be a great balance and hopefully some fun too. I think we're going to build a fire. Hopefully
Oh, we're
we'll
gonna
build
do
a fire.
fire. Yeah, we're gonna do fire and star stuff.
Fire and stars. I was going to throw this concept out that came to, I guess it's been kind of evolving and I'm really, it feels really excited. It feels feels good. It feels right. And it's actually maybe something that can be like a seed for the retreat, but also hopefully the other folks that are here today. So everybody, thanks to Robyn and Warwick, have been on this journey through the horses of backing off. I'm probably saying this totally wrong. I apologize, but really focusing more on relationship and attunement rather than goals or performance and so forth. So we're fairly, I mean, and that's a long, beautiful journey that I'm happy we're just, you know, all together on. The concept of attuned horsemanship, we're kind of starting to understand thanks to you all. A lot of people are starting to understand that. So I'm going to throw this as a segue and help us to maybe explore a concept of similarly exploring a relationship with the earth and with the land. So as we play out, okay, what does it look like to be attuned with your horse? Like literally, are you looking at an ear flick? Are they following you around? Like what are you seeing? What are you feeling? Let's do the same with the earth. Let's look at attuned land relationship, attuned earth relationship. What does that feel like? What does that look like? Because it is a relationship and we've maybe been focusing on other levels and not so much on the relationship piece as with the horses. So I'd love to just throw that little seed out there and see where it goes.
Just breathing that in.
That's one of the reasons I'm very excited to have you here. You know, that my exploration with the horses has really gone, well, the path it's gone on, it's less about dominion over and more about care for. And the more I learn about Indigenous practices and the way Indigenous people feel about the land, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's the kind of way I'm feeling about the horses. So it's kind of like, okay, get the concept, need to apply it to something else, but I'm really starting to really embrace that concept. So it'd be great to get some help in embracing it with the land as well. And I remember when I had you on the podcast and you talked about the standing still nation. Is that what you standing
Silent nation.
standing silent nation? Thank you. Yeah, the plants and the trees
Plants,
and
yeah,
love that concept.
that would be the plants and the trees. And there's a word, it's called wamakashka. So it's literally, I just learned it. I thought it was all the animals, but I learned from another elder that it's actually anything that has a life force. So it includes the plants and the rocks even. And so yeah, we have these stories of a long time ago. All of the legends that are the stories that teach us like life lessons. There's all these coyote stories, like a trickster and whatnot.
Yep.
And they're almost like fables, but we also believe there's truth. But they're always like, well, so coyote said this, and the sparrow said that. And it was like, well, I don't know if they were, my interpretation is that they were not using words per se, but we had that attunement. And so we were able to communicate both directions a little better. And I live in a modern world too, so I don't claim to be much further along than anybody else in relearning that language. But I'm planning an activity that might hopefully that we can all enjoy, and we'll be in that direction.
Anybody else have tears right behind their eyes right now? Like just feeling so much. This is just so amazing and so beautiful. And thank you, Jessica, for sharing that. And I think all of us here gathered and those that are listening later, how do we listen better to the earth? How do we find that attunement and work? I'm really appreciating your depth of understanding here, and also how that land, it is still speaking. It has so much to give for so many. And Christine, you really brought that forward, really, as you've had this experience this weekend. And it's not your only experience there, but you're continuing to deepen there as well. So the retreat itself is what weekend in October? Let's do some little facty facts.
It's the October 4th to the 6th. So it would basically start in the afternoon on the Friday the 4th and end at the end of the day on Sunday.
Okay. And it is a retreat, so it is intimate in nature. So there is a limited, obviously, number of people who can join. We already know that there will be desire for more of these. I have no doubt. So, but we won't put any pressure on you, just one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Because again, the intimacy factor of that retreat, bringing people together, something that has been kind of bubbling for me during this conversation is that the level of vulnerability and authenticity that you're all bringing it's teaching me, like already just in this conversation, there's this beautiful gentleness, but I can feel also like this invitation to go deep. Maybe not in this conversation, but I think that's what the retreat is for. And I appreciate it, Jessica, what you said about, you keep it light sometimes, and then you have activity, you move. And I mean, if I were coming, I'd obviously be, asking for those, what was it? Raspberry and some
Blackberry and brie.
Grilled cheese. Yeah.
right?
Like,
What is that? Like, you know what? The one thing I've been craving, you realize the one food the only food that I have craved during this whole 2.5 weeks of this thing, has been a grilled cheese sandwich. But now it's not just any grilled cheese sandwich. Now I need the Robyn Schiller special.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's not blackberry jam. It is fresh organic blackberries in brie that's melted, and
Oh,
it's, yeah.
oh
my
man.
God.
Oh
So
man.
as soon as I can drive,
Yeah.
coming down. No. For those of you that cannot make the retreat this year, because hopefully this may become something that, I don't know, could become an anchoring piece for the journey on ranch. Who knows? No pressure. There is the summit. I'm assuming there may still be a few tickets left. That's also in October, and it's in Paso Robles as well. Are there still tickets left for the summit?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because selling point, guess what we get to do the Thursday night, right? Robyn, do you want to share what we get to do the Thursday night?
Yeah, we're doing ranch tours and the meet and greet at Journey on Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if anyone who can't attend one of the smaller events, if you want to meet me down there for the big event, I'm looking forward to seeing the ranch as part of that. And I think it's a beautiful way to start the weekend. There's a whole astrology, of course, for that weekend too, which we won't get into, but and okay, so coming full circle here for your weekend, this beautiful collaboration from the ground to the stars. You are meeting at a really interesting time. This shouldn't surprise you, right? In terms of oh yay, Becky, yay. So as you go into the retreat, so there right before the retreat starts, there is a new moon in Libra, which I think will bring in some of that reminder of the internal balance and the external balance. And again, what is balance? What is balance? There's equilibrium. There's the connection between you and your spirit, you and the land, you and the stars. So there's a powerful energy as you move into the retreat. It is an opening. And so right relationship. And I'd actually like to throw this over to Christine about right relationship with oneself. And Christine, I'd like to see if there's, I mean, you don't have to share everything you're going to do in the retreat, but is there anything you'd like to share about that in terms of this gathering and yeah.
One of the strongest feeling that was coming through about creating this retreat was that people are starving for connection to nature and each other. And we feel the void of that in our lives, but we don't necessarily have an answer for it. And when we did this retreat this weekend, this was round 2 of a retreat that we started last year. And I think that it's saying something that every single person came back this year that was at the one last year because of what it did in those ways of connecting to each other, creating community, creating a space where we can talk about getting a download and not be like, what was you on your computer? Like, so that part of us that's starved, and Jess is such a beautiful liaison for having some skills and grounding in her ancestry to that. And every single person here is bringing an aspect of that into it. And it's when we talk about doing these, we put together the ideas behind it, the intentions, right? Almost like Warwick talks about the principles, right? We have like a framework, but we allow what comes in, to have the space to come in and have it flow where it wants to go. So there's a partnering with the energy of everything around us and in us and through us. And that's what makes it really incredible. And what's funny is that when we decided to do this, when Denise said, "Oh, I want to have you guys on my show," and I went, you know, we had just been in the beginning of introducing this idea to people, this retreat. And since then we had sold out, but we opened it up for 2 more spots for this show and this, well, for your people, just so that it wasn't like, let's tell you guys all about something that nobody can go to, right? So
Well, that was really nice. I didn't really want to venture into that territory. I was a little worried about like where
yeah,
that
no.
would go. Okay.
So there's 2 spots. If, you know, if anybody wants them, they're there.
People.
If not, it's fine. Like, you know, we're gonna do this, and you know, maybe we will do it again. This is kind of a one-off that we put together and kind of as like one-time collaboration, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if it's being called to do again.
You know, I'm having this magical memory. We talked about this when we were in Wales. So it's been a while since we had our initial conversation. I'm like, oh, you and Jess should come on. You know, I just knowing, you know, the earth is just magical, and having the 4 of you come together to bring awareness to the right relationship, you know, and what is right relationship? And I mean, there's all kinds of ways to interpret that, but the integration and the connection of the body, mind, spirit, heart with the earth. And I love that it, like, I would feel very at home at this retreat because I could talk about anything, you know, like, you know, the ancestors have been very present with me, particularly because of my experience in Glastonbury before the Birmingham retreat. And the knowing that our ancestors are with us, and that, you know, Robyn, I love that. I feel like Marty is the caretaker of the heart of the home on that property, and that you and Warwick and all that are there have become guardians of this land, and as such being asked to share the learning and the teachings. And I get chills every time I think about it. So we're heading to the top of the hour. So I just want to open it up. Is there anything else anybody wants to say before we close for today? And just jump in. You're all so quiet. This is unusual.
I just want to say I get great joy from seeing your smiling face, Denise.
Aww.
And I thought you were having your normal podcast or your normal program today. I didn't know you were just generously giving us the floor here, and because
That is my normal thing.
That is your normal thing. Yeah.
My normal thing is to
such
generously give the floor to
such a
whoever.
generous soul. And thank you so much. I just really, we could have, I'm always saying this, we could have just went like wah, wah, wah all day long, and I would have loved it, you know, as much, because I get to see your smiling face. And
Well, I thank you so
appreciate
much.
you reaching out. Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, I have to tell everyone. So David and I were very fortunate to get to see Jess, not in the, it wasn't that long ago, but it was long ago now, because time, and what is time, but we were in Bend, and we were spending some time with Stevie, and then we went to pick up Jess at the airport in the nearby town, and we had this great conversation in the car, and turns out David and Jess have some connections that were far and deep, and I mean, just amazing. So how we've all come together, and really, I just really want to thank Robyn. Robyn, it is because of you that we are all here right now.
Mhm.
So thank you. Thanks for bringing us all together. All right.
Right? That's the mama part. I'm just super fast. That's the mom part where Robyn said it's time to move and we need a bigger place. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And it was her idea for the summit, right?
yeah,
And that put so many people together that are collaborating, friends, doing all kinds of stuff together. Like it's just opened this whole world. And I want to say, Denise, you know, everything in my life that Denise has touched has turned magical. And I truly feel like the whole astrology is just the container that holds Denise's magic in it.
Mm.
And the way that she communicates her gifts is through that container, but she is magic with or without it.
Thank you, Christine. David says that all the time. And he's very happy that someone else is saying it too. Thank you. And
mom.
I'm so grateful. And for those of you that may not know, Robyn and I met first, and that's I don't even remember what year that was, Robyn. Do you even remember?
It must have been 2019, 2018 or 2019. Maybe it was the end of 2018.
18, I think.
Yeah, I think
Because
it's
Amber and Jen and I were planning a retreat for 2019, and we came to see you, and you told us exactly who was going to do what, and you were right on. And yeah, that was awesome. And then I'm like, okay, everybody I know needs to go see Denise.
which she's done a really good job. She's like my personal marketing manager. So appreciate that. And I really want to thank you too for having me on the Journey On podcast, episode 99. I've always liked that. I feel like Agent 99. Agent 99 of consciousness, hopeful consciousness, transformation support. So thank you again for having me on as guest. And then also thank you both for inviting me to be part of the summits. They have literally changed me on so many levels. And the Birmingham Summit, which you can all still buy tickets for the replay if you want to, that level of connection, nothing, not even COVID, can take away the magic and the preciousness of the energy that I'm still feeling from that time. Nothing. So thank you. All right, we have to wrap. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? Last minute. I know we could talk for days, but anything else? All right. Big hugs to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So what I'm going to do, turning off the recording.